Now we are going to solve O-Level Physics 5054, Paper 1, Variant 1, October number 17 and questions from 21 to 40. From question 1 to 20 we have already solved. Now we have to start 21. What is the name and shape of the lens used to correct short sight? Okay, here shapes are given and names of the lens are given and we have four options A, B, C and D. Now option A, it is given converging lens. It is not a converging lens, it is a diverging lens or a concave lens. Option B, converging. Yes, it is a converging or a convex lens, but it is not used for short sight. It is used for long sight. Option C, diverging. Yes, it is the diverging or concave lens and it is used for short sightedness. So it is the correct one. In option D, it is given diverging and the lens is shown it is converging. So option D is also incorrect. Our best option is option C, diverging lens, and it is used for short-sightedness. Question number 22. An object is placed in front of a converging lens. The lens forms a magnified image of the object on a screen. Which statement is correct? Option A, the distance between the object and the lens is greater than the focal length. Option B, the image formed is a virtual image. Option C, the image is the right way up. Option D, the lens is acting as a magnifying glass. Okay, here the main thing is the lens forms a magnified image of the object on a screen. Okay, we have studied here that in a projector we have to use a convex lens. We use a convex lens that is called projection lens, and that lens forms a image large, inverted and real on the screen. The image formed on the screen is large, inverted and real. Since the image is large, so we can say this convex lens is used as a magnifying glass because it is magnifying the image. It is enlarged the image. So our option D is the correct one. The lens is acting as a magnifying glass. The image is not right up, it is inverted. The image form is a real, it is not virtual. So our best option is option D. The lens is acting as a magnifying glass. Question number 23. A type of electromagnetic radiation possesses the following properties. Number 1, it is ionizing. Number 2, its frequency is higher than the frequency of the microwave. Number 3, it is not detected by the human eye. What is this radiation? A. Gamma rays. B. Infrared. C. Light. D. Radio waves. Okay, in the topic of radioactivity, we have studied that there are three types of radiation, alpha, beta and gamma, and all these three radiations have a property of ionizing the gases. Alpha ionizes the most and gamma ionizes the least. Okay, here in option A, it is given gamma rays. So option A is the correct one. Gamma rays has all these three properties. Okay, for the second one, second property, it is written here, its frequency is higher than the frequency of the microwave. Okay, we will check this one. Here it is gamma rays. What is microwaves? Okay, here it is microwave. Here we are looking when we are moving downward, frequency is increasing. So we can say frequency of the microwave is less and frequency of the gamma rays is more. Or we can say in other words that the frequency of gamma rays is more than the frequency of the microwave. Frequency of gamma rays is higher than the frequency of the microwave. And the third property, it is not detected by the human eye. Yes, we cannot see gamma rays. So all these three conditions are fulfilled by gamma rays. So option A is the correct one. Question number 24. Which row gives the speed of sound in air, in water, and in steel? Okay, speed of sound is maximum in solid and minimum in gas. So we can say speed of sound will be maximum in steel and minimum in air. Now here in the option A, it is given speed in air is 330 meter per second, in water 1500, and in steel 6000. So in steel it is maximum and in air it is minimum. So option A is the correct one. Question number 25. As a sound wave travels from one medium to another, its wavelength increases. What happens to the frequency and to the speed of the sound? Okay, when sound waves travel from one medium to another medium, with the increase in wavelength, its velocity, its speed increases, but frequency remains constant, and it is given in the option D. So option D is the correct one. Frequency stays constant and speed increases. Correct option is option D. Question number 26. The diagram shows the pattern and the direction of the magnetic field between the magnetic poles X and Y. Here we have two magnets, one pole X, second pole Y. Which type of the pole are X and Y? Okay, here we have four options. Here it is X, it is Y. Okay, here we are looking that lines of force is starting from Y and moving towards the X. And in a magnet, we know that lines of force start from the North Pole and move toward the South Pole. So we can say this Y is the North Pole and this X is the South Pole. And it is given in the option C. X is the South Pole and Y is the North Pole. So option C is the correct one. Question number 27. The diagram shows a sensitive device surrounded by a shield that prevents the magnetic field from reaching the device. Here we have a device, here it is a shield, and here magnetic field, and this device will save from the magnetic field because of this shield. How does the shield protect the device? It is asked how this shield will protect this device. Option A, it channels the magnetic field around the shield until it emerges on the right hand side. Option B, its left hand side absorbs the magnetic field. Option C, its left hand side reflects the magnetic field. Option D, its left hand side scatters the magnetic field in all directions. Here this shield is made up of soft iron, and iron is a magnetic material. These magnetic lines of force can pass through the iron shield. So when the magnetic field will enter into the shield, it will pass through the shield and will emerges out on the right hand side. And it is given in the option A. This shield channels the magnetic field around the shield until it emerges on the right hand side. So option A is the correct one. Question number 28. A polyethylene rod is charged by rubbing it with the cloth. Here we have a cloth piece and it is rubbed with the polyethylene rod, and after rubbing it will be charged. Here we are looking on the polyethylene rod, there is a negative charge. On the cloth piece there is a positive charge. Which statement explains why the cloth is charged? Okay, first we read the options. Option A, electron moves from the cloth to the rod. Yes, it is the correct one. Here we have a cloth. We are looking that here is a positive charge, here is a negative charge. So we can say electrons are transferred from cloth towards the polythene rod. So we can say electron move from the cloth to the rod. So this option is the correct one. Okay, we will check other options also. In option B, electrons move from the rod to the cloth. Here it is given electrons move from rod to the cloth piece. If the electrons move from the rod towards the cloth piece, then here will be positive charge, here will be negative charge. So option B is not possible. In option C, it is given proton move from the cloth to the rod. In option D, it is given protons move from the rod to the cloth. Protons are in the nucleus, they do not move. So option C and option D are not possible. So option A is the best option, or it is the correct one. Question number 29. What is electromotive force? Okay, electromotive force is defined as amount of work done to carry a unit positive charge from one point to another point, and it is given in option C, amount of work done required to carry a unit positive charge from one point to another point. So option C is the correct one. Question number 30. In a circuit, a voltmeter is used to measure the potential difference across a lamp and ammeter is used to measure the current in the lamp. Which diagram shows the circuit? Okay, here we have four options. First thing, voltmeter we have to use in parallel with the circuit and ammeter in series. Now here we have to calculate the voltage of this lamp and measure the current in the lamp. So voltmeter should be connected in parallel with the lamp and ammeter should be connected in series. And we are looking, this one is given in the option B, that voltmeter is connected in parallel and ammeter is connected in series. So option B is the correct one. Question number 31. The battery in a circuit contains two identical cells connected in parallel. Here we have two cells. These cells are connected in parallel. Which row shows the relationship between the current I1 and I2 and gives the electromotive force EMF of the battery? Okay, first thing here, the current I1 is passing through this resistor, and after passing here current is shown I2. This current I1 will be same, will be equal to I2. Okay, first we check what is asked here. Okay, here it is asked what is the relationship between the current, and here it is asked what is the total EMF of the battery. Now as discussed that this current I1 will be equal to I2 and it is given in the option C and option D. So our possible options are option C and D. Now we have to check about the EMF. Here we are looking that two cells are connected in parallel. When the cells are connected in parallel, EMF will remain same. So EMF will be equal to 2 volt. If these cells are connected in series, then the voltage or the EMF will be sum up. But here it is connected in parallel, so it will remain same. So we can say EMF will be 2 volt and current I1 will be equal to I2, and it is given in the option C. So option C is the correct one. Question number 32. The diagram shows the circuit for a hair dryer. The fan motor has a power rating of 0.1 kilowatt and the heaters each having a rating of 0.4 kilowatt. The cost of electricity is 8 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, here we have one fan motor. Its rating is 0.1 kilowatt and two heaters each having a power rating of 0.4 kilowatt. And it is given cost of electricity is 8 cents per kilowatt hour. What is the cost of running the hair dryer for 2 hours with switches P and Q closed and switch R open? Now we have to calculate the cost of the hair dryer when switch P and Q are closed. P and Q are closed means these two fan motor and one heater is connected with the circuit. Now here we have to calculate total kilowatt hours. Total kilowatt is equal to 0.1 plus 0.4 that is connected to the circuit. It is 0.5. Total number of hours required is 2 hours. So we have to multiply 2 by 0.5, and by multiplying 0.5 by 2 hours we will get the answer 1 kilowatt hour. Now cost of 1 kilowatt hour is given 8 cents. So same 8 cents will be the answer for the cost of running the hair dryer for 2 hours with switches P and Q closed and switch R open. And this 8 cents is given in the option D. So option D is the correct one. Question number 33. Why are the metal casing of electrical appliances earthed? Option A, to complete the circuit. No, to complete the circuit we need live wire and neutral wire. Option B, to ensure the casing is not at a dangerous voltage. Yes, it is the correct one. We connect earth wire with the metal casing so that if accidentally live wire is broken and if it touches the metal casing, then whatever be the voltage developed or whatever be the current, it is earthed directly and will keep us safe. So option B is the correct one. Question number 34. The diagram shows a wire XY lying between the poles of a magnet. The ends of the wire are connected to a sensitive ammeter. The wire is moved and a reading is registered. In which direction is the wire moved? In which direction is the wire moved? We have to find out the direction of the resultant force. Okay, the topic is related with the Fleming left-hand rule. It is Fleming left-hand rule. This first finger, it represents the direction of the magnetic field. This second finger represents the direction of the current, and this thumb represents the direction of the resultant force. Now here, direction of the magnetic field is from north to south. This one C is the direction for the magnetic lines of force. This B is the direction for the electrical current. So resultant force will be in the direction of A. So A is the direction in which the wire will move, or we can say resultant force will be in the direction of A. Question number 35. Which particles are emitted by a hot metal filament? Option A, alpha particle. Option B, electrons. Option C, neutrons. Option D, protons. Okay, when we heat up a metal filament, then electrons are emitted out from the metal surface and it is called thermonic emission. So option B is the correct one. Electrons are emitted from the metal filament. Question number 36. A light emitting diode is connected to an alternating current AC supply. The LED flashes on and off. What is the direction of the current in the LED when it emits light? Option A, towards the left only. Option B, towards the right only. Option C, towards the left or towards the right. Option D, there is no current in the LED. This LED is a light emitting diode. So whatever be the property of simple diode, same property is for LED also. Here, this side it is called forward bias and this side is called reverse bias. Current is passed only in one direction, means forward bias, means it will move in the right direction, and it is given in the option B. So towards the right only, it is the correct option. Question number 37. A narrow beam of alpha particles is fired at a thin piece of gold foil. What is the final direction of the largest number of alpha particles? Okay, this topic is related with Rutherford experiment. In the experiment, alpha particle was bombarded on a gold foil and it was observed that most of the alpha particles are undeflected. They move in a straight line, they move without any deflection. It is given here, most alpha particles are undeflected. Now move to the question. Here it is asked what is the final direction of the largest number of alpha particle. So direction will be in the direction of A, means most of the alpha particles are undeflected. These particles are moved in a straight line. So option A is the correct one. Question number 38. A nucleus of phosphorus P1532 emits a beta particle to form a new nucleus. What is the nucleon number and what is the proton number of the new nucleus? Okay, here this 15 it is called atomic number and here this 32 is called mass number or nucleon number. Now it is asked here, this phosphorus emits out one beta particle. This phosphorus emits out one beta particle. In the topic of radioactivity, we have studied that there are three types of particles that are emitted out during radioactivity. These particles are alpha, beta and gamma, and beta particles are given as beta minus 1 0, where this minus 1 is the atomic number or charge number. Here 0 is the mass number. Now here for the phosphorus, mass number is 32. Since mass number of beta particle is 0, so whatever be the new particle will have the same mass number as mass number of phosphorus. Now here for the charge number or atomic number. For the phosphorus it is 15. For the beta particle it is -1. So the new particle should have a charge number of +16, so that if we will add this charge number after the reaction, that should be equal to charge number before the reaction. Now here it is -1 plus 16, so total will be 15 after the reaction, and here 15 before the reaction. So the charge number of the new particle will be +16, and it is given in the option D that nucleon number or mass number is 32 of the new particle, and proton number or atomic number or charge number of the new particle is 16. So it is the correct one. D is the correct one. Okay, D is the correct option. Now we will move to question number 39. Question number 39. How does a nucleus of the isotope chlorine 37 differ from a nucleus of the isotope chlorine 35? Okay, isotope means same atomic number but different mass number. Mass number is sum of number of proton and neutron, and atomic number is number of protons. So in other words, we can also say that isotope means same number of proton but different number of neutrons. Now here it is 37, it is 35, means here 2 neutrons are more as compared to chlorine 35. Now we will read our options. Option A, it contains one more neutron and one more electron. No. Option B, it contains one more proton and one more electron. No, it cannot be. Option C, it contains two more neutrons. Yes, it is the correct one. It is in accordance with the definition of isotopes. So option C is the correct one. In chlorine 37, two neutrons are more as compared to chlorine 35. Question number 40. Which types of radiations may be emitted by the radioactive decay? In the topic of radioactivity, we have studied that three types of radiations are emitted out, and the name of these three radiations are alpha, beta and gamma. Now we will read our options. In option A, it is given alpha particle and gamma rays. In option B, microwaves and infrared. Option C, radio waves and microwaves. Option D, ultraviolet and X-rays. So it is very clear that option A is the correct one, alpha particles and gamma rays. Okay, today we have completed 5054 paper 1 variant 1 October November 17. Thank you very much.